Hi folks, Hawk here. Obviously this is going to be my announcement for my 2018 AT hike. I had intended to wait until the first of the year before I even started. I've been trying to figure out how to do all the editing and stuff on YouTube. I'm still totally ignorant of it, so my videos probably will be pretty dull compared to a lot of folks, but this is my hike. Now, if the title has seemed a little confusing because it says 2017, 2018, it's because I already started. I started on at Amicalola Falls on 2005. I don't recommend doing the approach trail for reasons I'll get into later, but all of that day I kept telling myself, oh my God, I'm in negative miles. So it was a little frustrating. It's a pretty tough trail, and you get pretty frustrated by the time you get to Springer. But I got to Springer Mountain early on November 6th, and that's when it started. I had already hiked Georgia, and if I get a chance I'll get into that probably in a different video. Just as trial hike. I did it in 3 shots. The first shot was 6 days in April of 2016 and had a great time. The weather was far too nice. It was late April, so I had high 60s to low 70s degree weather. It was sunny all the time, not a bit of rain. The worst thing that happened was the tops of my ears got sunburned. I felt a little cheated. I didn't get the full experience. The AT made up for it when I started in earnest. The first 3 days in Georgia for me, this last November, it rained. And at least one day it just poured. I went across Sassafras Mountain in a, maybe not a gale, but it was probably 25-mile-an-hour winds, driving rain, and I was just having a great time. It was really cool. So it's already started. I did it for one primary reason, and that's to stay away from the bubble. Even when I was there in late April of 16, there was still just an enormous number of people on the trail. And I'm an extreme introvert. I love good people, but in large crowds it is just not that much fun for me. And when you're sort of jockeying to try to get space in a shelter, if that's what you're into, it makes it difficult. In general, I'm not crazy about shelters, but in the cold and wet, that's usually going to be my first choice. Packing up a wet tent's never fun, but I do love my tent, and I'll do my gear video probably tomorrow and get it published later this weekend or Monday. How I got here was I've known about the trail most of my life. You got to remember, I was 5 when Grandma Gatewood hiked the trail. Oddly enough, I never knew about her. Never knew about her until about 9 months ago. And so that's always been in the back of my head. And the trail always seemed very interesting, something I always thought was something I'd like to do, but I never felt I could do it. And in the fall of 2015, several things happened. A couple of health things. I had shoulder surgery for a rotator cuff injury that I incurred while I was whitewater kayaking, and I broke my foot. That reminded me that I wasn't getting any younger, and if I thought about doing this, I better get on with it. I'll be 68 when I get back on the trail, so that's something that I have to be concerned about. And at the same time, in 2015, Walk in the Woods and Wild came out. Now, that's, the movies weren't a reason to hike the trail, but it did show me that normal people could do it, so it made me realize I might be able to do it. So I thought, let's see, and that made me start making some plans. I started doing some research and went down to start at Springer on April 24th in 16. I hadn't really done any training. I'd done a couple of 4-mile hikes and told myself, yeah, I got this. They're going to be calling me Iron Man. That's going to be my trail name. And I was lucky they didn't call me Wheezy Old Man when I got there, but it was still exceptional. It's still one of the things I noticed the first day I got on the trail was the fact that I could feel both ends. I could feel Katahdin, and that really connected me to the trail, and I just fell in love with it. When I got off that first week at Unicoi, it just broke my heart. I just wanted to stay with some of the people that I had been hiking with, Hyzina and Oklahoma and Shade and Silverback and Lassie. Great folks, and they really made that first week pretty terrific for me. So I kept making plans over the next 9 months. Late in 2016, found out that I wasn't going to be able to do it in 17, and was pretty bummed out, stopped hiking for a while. Then found out I had a week of vacation coming in March of 17, so I went down, and on the 18th, I started at Unicoi with the intention of finishing Georgia. It was just to get one state, not out of the way because you have to do it again anyway, but just for my own, I wanted to get back on the trail. Well, I hadn't been hiking and I hurt myself. So I only made it to Dix Creek Gap. Probably could have made it to North Carolina, but I thought, excuse me, probably best that I stop for a while and get better before I finish. So I came back in May, finished up Georgia, and that was a neat thing to get to the North Carolina border. So came back. This last fall, a lot of things happened in my family. Lost my dad, so I'll be carrying him with me. This is his dog tag from World War II, so he'll be with me for the trip. And I was out in Vermont, and I did a section hike of the long trail. If you want to get your butt kicked on a short trail, that's the trail to do it. It's a great trail, really beautiful stuff. Came back. I had thought of going down and doing the approach trail just to get it out of the way, and it suddenly struck me that I had the time, I could go ahead and get started, and that would put me ahead of the bubble. So from November 6th till November 20th, I think, I hiked to Nantahala Outdoor Center, NOC, and it was a really exceptional experience. And getting off the trail was tough. I miss it a lot. But I'm back here in Michigan. It is butt ugly cold. It was -7 the other night, and it's in the single digits now. So I'm not doing much camping outdoors right now. One of the things that happened was I realized that I wasn't eating enough. So in 2 weeks, I lost almost 10 pounds. And it made it so that it was very tough for me to do some of the climbs. I'm in reasonably good shape, and they seemed tougher than I would have thought they should be. And I found out why. So that's one of the things that's going to have to change. I'm going to have to be much more careful about eating. And a few other things. Mostly I've got my gear tuned in, making a few little minor changes, and I'll talk about that when I do my gear video. So, what next? I go back to the trail right around March 1st. I'm giving myself a week before or after to do it. I'd really like to get there by 1st, but the intent is to start looking at weather on about my birthday, which is late February. And as soon as it looks like the weather is at least acceptable going through the Smokies, I'm going to start at Fontana Dam. I'll have 28 miles in there between NOC and Fontana to do at the very end. And I'm saving that intentionally so that when I'm done, you know, a couple of my friends and family have talked about coming out and doing part of the trail with me, and that's going to be for them. So when I've already done Katahdin, I'm going to come back to Fontana. We'll go from Fontana to NOC with some of my friends and family. And I thought that'd be kind of a special thing for me and hopefully for them. I'm not excited about hiking in the winter, and its possibility of being pretty cold. But my gear's pretty decent, so I think I'm okay with that. But it does give me the opportunity to hike in something other than a crowd. In my first 2 weeks, I was averaging about 12 miles a day. So I'm not going to have too much trouble, I don't think, once I get my weight back up, keeping a pretty good pace. You know, I won't tell you what I'm hoping to do because all the best laid plans and all that. So the intention is to hike as fast as I can, but still enjoy it. And it's very exciting, and I just absolutely can't wait until March 1st. I have a bunch of things to do. The last couple of days I've been doing some sewing, and again I'll talk about that when I get to gear. 2 months is going to go flying by very fast because that's about how much time I've got, about 60 days. After waiting almost 2 years, that's going to be nothing, and it's going to be pretty exciting. Now, you know, because Early Riser put me on his list, I've already got 35 subscribers and with no videos, so I hope this will make up for not having anything up till now. After the first of the year sometime, I will be putting up some of the videos I did from my first trial hike, from the first 2 weeks being on the trail for real. And I still have a lot to learn about editing, about dealing with YouTube. It's probably going to be a little ragged. You know, I say a lot, I clear my throat a lot. It's going to be irritating and tedious. Not going to be fancy, but I will tell you what's going on in my head when I'm on the trail and what it's like. It is an exceptional thing. There are days when I just want the discomfort to stop, but never want the trail to stop. And there are so many times when the experience takes your breath away and you see things that bring you to tears. So I hope that you guys will keep following. I don't, you know, the whole YouTube thing's a little odd for me. Being an introvert, doing this at all is a little odd for me. But my friends and family threatened my life if I didn't do it, so here we are. And I hope that I can bring something to this for somebody out there, and it gives you some sort of either exposure to the trail, some interest, a little bit of extra knowledge, or whatever. But I hope you'll follow along and see how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to end here and do a little bit more sewing and then start working on my gear video. So have a great day. I hope your holidays are fabulous. Hawk out.